So when you're starting, it would be a great idea to have a mat. A silicone mat would be best because if you use any glue gun or any material on it, it doesn't get dirty and it's easy to clean. And I would have some scissors. If you're using ribbon, there's ribbon scissors. And then it will be prepared for you a lot of wires, a tweezer if you have one, and some floral tape. You may or may not need it because everything is already prepared for you. And a glue gun with a low heat setting. I'm using this Gorilla glue gun that has a dual temperature setting and it's also a precise tip. And so let's get started. So to start off, we're gonna get a thin layer of moss, and you can take a look to see that how easy it is to get a mess. So make sure you do have a mat handy, and if not, we're gonna have it on our website soon, so stay tuned for that. And once you have it roughly the same size as your flower pot, and we can get ready to cut the wire. The reason for the wire is that we have to put all the moss down as your base layer, and we're gonna use a 26 gauge wire. So we cut them about 2 inches long, and make sure your scissors can cut wires, okay? I'm using this one, just a plain floral scissors. You can use a wire cutter or any big scissors that can cut wire. But be very careful with your hand because it does pose a bit of danger. So if you have kids around, make sure you keep your supplies well. And once you have cut them into about 2.5 inches, you're gonna fold them in half. And the way I do it is I use the end of my tweezer, and I'm gonna put it in the middle roughly. It doesn't have to be exact. And then you bend them. I find that it's the easiest way to bend the wires. And you can just do an estimate depending on how many you need, because the flower pot today is quite small. So we don't really need a lot as a base layer because there's not too much room on the floral foam. And keep in mind that once you put anything into the floral foam, you don't want to take it out very often because the foam does break easily. And if you want to, put a nice arrangement on top, when you take it in and out, the hole is going to get bigger and the arrangement is not going to stay as strong and not going to stay put. So once you have the wires ready, and let's get ready to put the moss down. Okay, so we have this wire. Let's take your flower pot and we will start putting a thin layer down. So your base layer is roughly done. Feel free to trim it, or you can wait for later to do it again. Okay, alrighty. So we get ready to go to the next and the more exciting part. Okay, so I've laid out all the materials that we have for today. We have hydrangea, your Ming roses. Those are preserved roses that's been opened. If you want to learn to know how to open them, it's going to be a completely different class for that. And then everything is already pre-wrapped for you. And again, because they're preserved and dry flowers, sometimes they don't have a stem that you can put inside your arrangement, so they have to be added wires and wrapped with flower tape to it. Of course, you can use other plastic stems or anything you have available. I find that the wire is more easy for you to maneuver. You can bend any way that you like because it's closer to Christmas. So we also have some pine cone that's available. And also a little doggy. If you have any figurine, you can add on to it. It's really fun to have this arrangement done. So let's get started. You can do it either way. You can do it with your main flower, or you can do it with your filler flower, like your hydrangea, to put on the side. So I like to start with my main flower to see which angle that I'm gonna have them. So again, when you get your arrangement, it may not be as perfect height as it should be, so you may need to cut it. So for instance, if I'm looking at this, the wire is way longer than the pot, so we need to cut them. And it's easier to cut it short than when it's too short and you cannot do anything anymore. So you can see that once you poke it in, there is a big hole. So make sure when you put in there again, that stays in that same hole. And I find that this is great for me right now. Okay, and then we're gonna do the next flower. So right now I'm just adding on the fillers, and you find that hydrangea is a very beautiful filler. And the reason that we have a tweezer on the side is that sometimes when they get too fragile, they break easily, and you can use the tweezer and you find the tip of the wire, use a little bit of pressure, and you push it down. Okay, then you can bend it to the angle that you like. And you may have extra material that you don't need. Feel free to just discard any material or save it for the next arrangement. It's always a next time. I'm just doing a little bit of a trimming work, and this is a very rough base that we've done so far. Yeah. So we still got lots of materials left over, so have fun, go nuts, see what looks good and what your heart desires. So the next thing, we have a little bit of leaves that we want to add a few on the sides, so everything looks more whimsical. This is preserved dry tea leaves, and it's very fun with the wire end. You can bend it any way you like and put it in the spot that you think it looks great. So to do one of this properly, depending on which step you're from, if you have to do all the wrapping, the prepping of the stems, and to open the flowers, I think this arrangement would take about an hour and a half to do. And if you have the material already, I mean, you can literally do this within half an hour or even 20 minutes. But it really depends on how much effort you're willing to put into it, how much time you want to prepare for this arrangement is entirely up to you. And some people may ask, what if something break in between? What if this dry material break? Say, if this is gonna be break in half today, I'm gonna do an example for you. If it breaks, it's too short, what am I going to do? So I'm going to show you a quick way of wiring them. Okay, so you put them end to end together, and you should have some extra wire that I have prepared for you. You may want to cut it in half, or if you have your own wire, use a higher gauge number. I use a 26. Bend it in half, and then make sure you hold this point really tight. Use only one leg of the wire and you wrap. Okay, and then if you have floral tape handy, make sure you use your floral tape, pull it, and then wrap it around. Now this becomes another filler that you can use for your arrangement. You're done for the day. If you have ribbon, you can also add ribbons to it, but because this pot, I believe, is beautiful enough, it's a very classic Roman design pot, flower pottery, and it doesn't really require anything addition to it. If you have any ribbon handy, I'm going to show you. You can also add to it.
And you're done. Take a look at your beautiful artwork. This is your floral therapy of the day.